Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all my Melffy Yugioh deck profile for August 2020. This is one of the newest decks we got with the release of Rise of the Duelist. Probably the cutest Yu-Gi-Oh deck that has ever come out as well. Definitely giving Fluffles a run for their money on the adorable level, even Madolches I'd say, because this deck is just downright cute in all aspects. There's no creepy side to it like Fluffles have with Fright Furs. There's no like mischief going on like Madolches have. This deck and all of its cards are just, cuteness at its max, and it's a really interesting playstyle as well that focus on bouncing the different Melffy cards back to your hand, using Xyz monsters to have different draw powers, bouncing your opponent's cards, you name it. It's a really, really awesome, interesting playstyle for sure. And like I said, if you want that adorable deck out there, this is definitely the one for you. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the actual Melffy monsters, I am running 3 Melffy Rabbit. Now this can potentially be a Rescue Rabbit target. It's the only normal monster we run in the deck, but still an option, which I'll go over later in the video if you want to run Rescue Rabbit, what card you can take out for that spot. But just being a 2100 defense normal monster that just works with easy special summoning with all the other Melffy monsters, which, special summon, add different Melffy monsters to the field for you to use for your main plays, which are your Xyz monsters that you run in the deck. So running 3 Melffy Rabbit just helps for the consistency to have a good amount of beast monsters that you run in the deck. So along with the Melffy monsters, we're also running some other level 2 beast support just to, help with this play style. For some of the other Melffy monsters, I'm running 3 Melffy Pony. If your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, or if an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you can return this card to the hand. Then you can add 1 level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck from your graveyard to your hand, except for Melffy Pony. And during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use each effect of Melffy Pony once per turn. So this setup with this card is your big go-to one, having recycle power with the graveyard as well, so very useful for adding cards back to your hand that you can special summon onto the field to have that Melffy wall basically to bounce back whenever your opponent would target it for an attack, or just when your opponent would normal or special summon a monster. I wanted to max out a good number of the Melffy monsters to always have these plays available to you, whether it's for the special summon or just the return to your hand setup also. And I also run 3 Melffy Fenny with this one. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, or if an opponent's monster targets this card, you can return this card to the hand. Then you can special summon 1 beast monster from your hand, except for Melffy Fenny. And then during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. So with the search power you have with some of your other Melffy monsters, being able to rely on Fenny for that special summon gives you more and more resources onto the field, with some more defensive plays being Melffy Rabby, or just setting up other ones that your opponent could potentially attack into, and then you can use their own effects to either add cards back to your hand and then return them to the hand for those attacks. For some of the other numbers, sadly I only got 1 of the super rare, but definitely would want to run 3 Melffy Puppy. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, except during the damage step, or if an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you return this card to the hand. Then you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck, except for Melffy Puppy. And during your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use each effect of Melffy Puppy once per turn, but the special summon from the deck is definitely your best go-to play, giving you more monsters on the field to use for those special summons against your opponent, and then more resources for you to use as well. So maxing out this one especially is important, so you always have those plays. And I want to run a good amount of different beast monsters, because some of those beast monsters we special summon with Melffy Puppy can definitely mess up your opponent plays depending on which one you summon out. And I also want to run 3 Melffy Catty. I guess they missed the chance with Kitty, but going off of all the other ones, I mean, they use Melffy Puppy. Why couldn't they use Melffy Kitty? I don't know. Very, mysterious reason there. If your opponent normal summons or special summons having the same bounce effects as all the other Melffy monsters, you can return this card to the hand. Then you can add 1 beast monster from your deck to your hand. So Melffy Puppy special summons from the deck, while Melffy Catty adds it to your hand for you to use as an end phase special summon, especially as another resource to use, all working with different positions in the deck for all the different cards you use. So having Melffy Catty for that search setup, and then special summoning, graveyard searching, you name it, they all work very, very well together for what they were supposed to do in the deck. For some of the other additional beast support, I am running 2 of the Valor Fawn, mythical beast of the forest. You can discard 1 card and target 1 level 2 or lower beast monster in your graveyard except for Valor Fawn, mythical beast of the forest, in attack position or face down defense position. You can use this effect of Valor Fawn once per turn, but this setup is great to go for the discard power, being able to special summon another Melffy onto the field and then overlay the 2 for the Exceed play, or the fact that Valor Fawn is a tuner, so you can even go for a synchro play if you wish with the deck using this card. For some of the other special summon power, especially with Melffy Puppy, I'm also running 2 Kalantosa, mythical beast of the forest. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a beast monster, you target 1 card on the field and destroy that target. So with having the option for Valor Fawn from the graveyard, or even for your Melffy Puppy, you have plenty of options to destroy your opponent's cards, especially when you bounce your Melffy cards back to the hand. Kalantosa can definitely, get rid of an important monster your opponent may have on the field during the battle phase, and they lose that attacking monster, giving you that additional monster on the field to use. I like to run the 2, so I always have the option to either recycle it with Valor Fawn or always have a target in the deck to use with our Melffy Puppy. And that is it for the monsters. I want to focus on a pretty good beast lineup. As for the actual spot for Rescue Rabbit, I will show that it's going to be a spell position if you wanted to run either Rescue Rabbit or Rescue Cat for additional special summoning of your Melffy monsters, and also our Melffy Rabby as well. So moving on to the spell cards, I run 3 Melffy Tag. This is a quick play spell. You target 1 Melffy monster in your graveyard, special summon it, you can activate 1 Melffy Tag per turn. It doesn't negate the monster's effect. It's a once per turn quick play, but always gives you options if you're out of monsters on the field. With the bounce plays, you can just go for any other Melffy monster in your graveyard, special summon it to the field, then your opponent can, attack into it, and then you can activate the return effect of that card to give you more plays on the field. And, just going for whatever Melffy monster you want, all the better as well. And even just detaching from your Melffy Exceed monsters makes it all the better with this card to rely on. And I also run 3 Melffy Hide and Seek. The first time each beast monster you control will be destroyed by a card effect each turn. It is not destroyed. You can target 3 beast monsters in your graveyard with different names, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. You can only use this effect of Melffy Hide and Seek once per turn. So this is your recycle power for the deck, so you always have monster resources available for you to use with this card for that draw power. And then also just protecting your Melffy monsters makes it all the better. Also, I'm testing out the 3. I like the numbers, so I can always find this card. With most of the Melffy cards working on, monster searches, you really want to have a high number of all your spell cards so you have the option to, open them up early game as well. And with the amount of beast monsters we're running, probably one of the best spells in the deck is Obedient School. If you control no monsters, special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast effect monsters with different names from your deck, but their effects are negated. Also, they are destroyed during the end phase, and for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon except for beast monsters, which doesn't limit you at all because the Exceed monsters in our extra deck are beast monsters, so it just makes for an easy special summon of 3 different monsters, and not even using your normal summon yet either. I'll show an awesome play also at the end of the video for using this card without limiting any of the special summon plays you can do. And I also run 2 Ayers Rock Sunrise. You target a beast-type monster in your graveyard, special summon that target, and then all face-up monsters your opponent control lose 200 attack for each beast monster you currently control or in your graveyard currently until the end of this turn. And you want to activate 1 per turn. That's why I'm only running the 2, with the other spot being a Monster Reborn, so I can have some of the options for some of my other extra deck monsters, but also just relying on Ayers Rock Sunrise and the potential to get a Monster Reborn to use both in 1 turn also, but being able to go for any of our other Melffy cards along with Melffy Tag makes for all the different special summoning options with the deck. And lastly, to finish off the spells, I'm also running 3 Call by the Grave. Now this is just the hand trap option to stop your opponents and using, their monster effects in the graveyard or their hand traps. If you wanted to run Rescue Rabbit or Rescue Cat, you can potentially take out Call by the Grave for the spot for those cards if you didn't want to really run more of the hand traps and focus on your own plays in the deck. Then Call by the Grave is the perfect spot to put in those additional rescue monsters depending on which one you want to run, whether it's Rescue Cat or Rescue Rabbit for the deck. And that is it for the spells. We'll now move on to the traps. I run 3 Melffy Playhouse. Detach any number of materials from Beast Exceeds monsters you control. Then target up to that many cards your opponent controls. Return them to the hand. Also, all Beast Exceeds you currently gain 500 attack for each monster detached to activate this effect until the end of the turn. So with your Exceed monsters, you're able to bounce potentially a lot of different cards your opponent has, and then just, bump up their attack points to pretty high numbers for you to use against your opponent. So I really like 3 of this card for that option. It works very well as that play style. And then lastly, for the traps, I also run 3 back to the front. Now this can also potentially be the Rescue Cat or Rescue Rabbit spot if you want to keep Call by the Grave. It's just another special summon option in the deck, and summoning the Melffy monsters in defense mode makes it all the better so you won't take any damage against your opponent. And if you have the continuous spell Melffy Hide and Seek on the field, it'll protect them from that one time, the first time they would be destroyed by a card effect, also against your opponent. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. Now, I only have 1 Melffy of the Forest, but I'll show what other Exceeds or extra deck monsters I would take out for potentially more numbers of this card. You can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 Melffy card from your deck to your hand. So searching out the spells or any of the other options is a great one for this alone in the deck, just giving you options for the whole deck of Melffy cards you want. And then also, if another face-up Melffy monster you control returns to your hand except during the damage step, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack, and also its effects are negated while it is face-up on the field. You can only use each effect of Melffy of the Forest once per turn. So a great defensive card against your opponent with that setup being just needing 2 level 2 monsters as well. As long as you have the resources to go for, you can potentially search for whatever card you need for the deck as well. I would want to run 2 of this, but I'll show what other Exceed I would take out for another option of this. I also have 3 Melffy Mommy, which is the other rank 2 we run. You need 2 level 2 beast monsters once per turn. Quick effect, you can attack 1 beast monster from your hand or face up on the field to this card's material. This card gains effects based on the number of materials attached to it. If it is 3 or more, it cannot be destroyed by battle. 4 or more, you take no damage from battles involving this card. Or 5 or more, when an attack involving this card, an attack position monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the monster's attack. So a true burn damage effect as well using this card, as long as you have that setup. But with more and more adding power with your Melffy monsters, it makes it all the easier to use as well in the deck. I definitely want to max out those numbers as well because of the Obedience School limit with our beast monsters, but we're always majority of the time going into those Exceeds with some of our added backup options, ones being Phantom Knight of Cursed Javelin. I like to also run 2 number 64 Ronin Raccoon Tsundere, just another beast monster with the token option, makes for a great Exceed to go into as well. I also run the 1 Daigusto Phoenix. Now this will potentially be the card you take out for Melffy of the Forest, just being a rank 2 that can attack twice by targeting itself, but I would definitely take it out for a second copy of Melffy of the Forest if you have it. And then for some of the Link monsters, I run 1 Cross Sheep with all the different Exceeds monsters we run. It's a great option for sure. 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and 1 Borreload Dragon to finish off the Link monsters. And like I said, with the Valor Fawn we're running being a tuner, for these synchro spots, I like to run 1 Herald of the Arclight and 1 Naturia Barkion, with our options being for the Earth tuner, and then also the non-tuner Earth monsters, that easier for Naturia Barkion, and then just 2 of them for Arclight with a free negation on the field after you summon this card. And as for the go-to plays, one of my favorites is with the Obedience School. So if you activate Obedience School, if you control no monsters, you special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast monsters, which they can be Valor Fawn or Kalantosa, or you can just go for the Melffy monsters you have in the deck as well, giving you those 3 monsters on the field. So opening up all 3 of these, and their effects are negated, but if you normal summon 1 more, it gives you all the options you need to then overlay using both of the cards. So one of them can be your Melffy of the Forest, giving you an additional search. The other one being Melffy Mommy. Then you can detach 1 off of Melffy of the Forest to search for another of the Melffy cards, whether it be your Melffy Hide and Seek to protect these cards on the field, and or an additional Melffy monster to attach onto Melffy Mommy to build up her material. And then also relying on the trap if you set this, and then have plenty of materials to detach on the field with this card, boosting up all your Melffy monsters' attacks, and then also just bouncing that many cards on your opponent's side of the field. Quite a scary play as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. It's definitely a fun deck. I'm curious to see if we'll be getting any more support for them in any form, maybe another type of extra deck monster. We'll have to wait and see. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira, Twig out.